Enjoy the show.
Are you hungering for something new this year? HelloFresh has got your back with pre-measured ingredients and easy-to-follow directions. Your new favorite meal can be prepped in under 30 minutes. Get up to 14 free meals, including free shipping when you use the code Footballers14 at HelloFresh.com/Footballers14.
Foot Clan, you know what you want? Because I know what you want. It is football. And not just a game or two. You want all of them live. Maybe you can't get DirecTV where you live. Not a problem anymore. NFLSundayTicket.tv. It lets you follow your favorite team no matter where you live. Watch every out-of-market NFL game every Sunday afternoon live on your favorite devices. The DirecTV Red Zone channel, DirecTV Fantasy Zone. Look, with NFLSundayTicket.tv Max and University Premium packages, you're going to watch all the football that you possibly can consume on a Sunday morning and afternoon. The player tracker, you're already tracking the players. Well, they're going to handle it. Follow 20 of your favorite players every Sunday with your NFL Sunday Ticket app. Go online to NFLSundayTicket.tv/SundayReady now to see if you're eligible. And pro tip, use promo code BALLERS2021 at checkout, and you're going to save 15%. Again, to see if you're eligible for the NFL Sunday Ticket streaming package, go to NFLSundayTicket.tv/SundayReady and use code BALLERS2021 to save 15% when you sign up.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Oh, my goodness. Welcome in.
I was going to give you It's Money Time.
Oh, were you? But I went too long?
Yeah. Thanks for stealing my thunder, Andrew Holloway. So selfish.
Oh, welcome into the show. Just an ordinary Friday morning.
What a game. What a night.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. I mean, I think I could literally make the joke, I don't know what happened last night, in a way.
Yeah, why don't you tell the people what did happen? Because I know a lot of people follow us on social media. They're excited for the show. They're like, I can't wait to hear it. But many, many people out there, I would call them wonderful idiots that aren't following us on social media, but I still love you, might be unaware of what just of what you did last night.
I'm still in complete shock and disbelief. There's so much to the story, but the headline is somehow, some way, on the heels of Mike's tremendously sad I lost $40,000 story.
Cool. Why are we bringing that back up?
I entered the DraftKings Millie Maker for Thursday night.
The showdown.
And we are brand new to the DFS world where we can participate in these. And I genuinely, and Brooks, you know this, about 30 minutes before we left the office yesterday, I told Jason, I said, I love these Thursday night Millie Makers. They're really fun. Gives you something to do.
You can track all of the action easily. You're following along.
Yeah, I mean, you're watching one game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes, and we're so used to 9 games on Sunday. So
We both made a lineup.
yeah, I'm like, Jason, these are fun. We should do it. You're like, oh,
You made a lineup?
I did. Oh, I cashed, man. I did. My lineup did very well. I cashed. I think I got $30.
I won.
You sure did.
Oh, man.
First place.
Yeah.
I somehow won on 2 lineups, and I mean, I'm just shocked. My wife was giving me such a hard time for even participating in any of this, and it somehow this
How's that feel?
somehow that didn't get redeemed with the victory, but I won first place and $46,000.
We've had We've had 3 weeks. Arizona it took us 3 weeks to take one down. Let's go.
And so a couple headlines here. First of all, I'll say this publicly so that I follow through with it. But if it weren't for Jason, I'm not sure I take down the Millie Maker because so I'm giving him 1/6 of my winnings.
Oh, all right. Let's go.
Because we're leaving.
Yeah, but I was like, hey, Andy.
No, you left early.
love draft
you
games.
left early yesterday, Mike.
Shoot.
Joke's on you. You would have had the same lineup. But no, what was funny is, these Thursday night contests, you have a captain, and that player gets 1.5 times their normal points, and then you have 5 flex players. And so my lineup was Sam Darnold as my captain. DJ Moore had a great game. Brandon Cooks had a great game. Then I went with Davis Mills. Like, not a lot of people went with Davis Mills, the other quarterback. A lot of people went with the Panthers D, which I understand. And then Anthony Miller's sitting there at $1,000. I put him in, and I got one spot left, and I'm kind of looking. We're walking out the door, and I'm going, man, what's this spot? Is it Jordan Akins for a couple thousand? Is it Terrace Marshall for a couple thousand? And then Chuba Hubbard's sitting there, and Jason's like, oh, you're building a non-CMC lineup already. Why not throw Hubbard in? And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. He goes, what if CMC gets hurt? So I realized that this is not a good night for everybody.
Yeah.
But the second headline here, guys, I'm the same person that you know and love. Just because I took down the Millie Maker.
You have been incredibly humble.
I'm the same person.
We showed up to
I
lattes.
hate to interrupt, guys, but
Al?
Andy had a rush delivery that just showed up. He said it's
really?
important.
Okay.
Oh.
Anyways,
Oh.
I'm the same guy.
Got a new hat.
I'm the same guy I've always been, and I just want you to know that. I'm gonna stay,
Quite the fancy hat.
I'm gonna stay humble. Oh boy, we do have a jam-packed, wild and crazy show that I will wear this hat for the remainder of, including our DraftKings segment at the end of the show, which means one of us is spinning the wheel of shame.
Yeah, it's me.
It's Mike. It's not me.
It's me.
And so no chicken mass for me today. We have 9 more matchups in the fantasy forecast. Let's briefly hit last night's game.
Well,
Beyond me winning.
The big news here is obviously Christian McCaffrey. The injury is devastating, and in the league of record, I have CMC, so I am with the people out there that spent that first-round pick. It is
devastating.
It is just horrendous, and I know the scars and the feelings of you want to label it, you want to say he's injury prone. He let you down last year, and we don't have follow-up MRI data yet to know how severe it is, but if you follow some of the clues of what happened, when it was in the game, the importance of Christian McCaffrey there, how quickly he was ruled out, along with him calling himself immediately off the field, you have to presume it's going to be a multi-week injury, not just a little, it's a little tight. I don't think this is going to be an Austin Eckler situation. I think this is going to be something that sidelines him for a while. I expect that we will get news in a couple of days as to whether or not he goes on the IR, and that'll be that 3-week timeline. So we'll know if we think he's just going to miss 2 weeks, or if he goes on the IR, we'll know he has to miss at least 3, and so that's going to be, we'll talk about this a lot on Tuesday's waiver show, but Chuba Hubbard will obviously be a very, very important pickup. And I see Andy smiling over here because, look, the rich get richer. In our league of record, I am playing against Andy, and I have Christian McCaffrey and he picked up Chuba before the week, you rascally dog.
He was never not working, man.
Yeah.
And DJ Moore's great. I mean, the breakout continues for DJ Moore.
Is fantastic. 12 targets.
Oh, it was
holy
amazing.
Shnikes. And Darnold just missed him.
They get your holy shnikes in there?
Yeah, you did. And Darnold just missed him late in the game on a deep shot that would have housed, but unfortunately overthrew it by about half a yard. What do we do here with Robbie Anderson?
So what's interesting here,
besides crying, because we've established that crying is fully allowed and encouraged in fantasy football.
Yeah.
Sometimes very necessary. Robbie finished 1 for 8 on only 2 targets, so it's disconcerting for sure. I do question, obviously, if CMC misses time in this game. It's different, right? Is very different when a player gets injured mid-game versus you're without a player and you're installing a new game plan. Andy, you brought up Christian McCaffrey as a big reason to worry about Robbie Anderson coming into this season. That he's the primary target. Do you think the role changes for
Not
the weeks
really.
that he's out?
Not really. I don't. And I think a lot of this has to do with Sam Darnold and the game plan and the way that he has eyes for DJ Moore and the way that they're drawing up these plays for him. He gets out of the pocket, he rolls left. DJ Moore is this crosser. That's not what Robbie's doing right now. And I mean, you stare at 3 weeks into the season, and you've got better fantasy production from the Dan Arnolds and the Alex Ericksons and Tommy Trimbles in the lineup last night. You know, it could be better for him without all of the targets, but Chuba will get targets. Chuba wasn't there last year, right? Like Mike Davis was. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's got to be better than it was last night for Robbie Anderson. He just signed a huge contract, so if you want the counterbalance, he's paid to be an integral part of the offense. It just didn't go that way last night. They also were in a game where, like you said, it was disrupted on offense, and they weren't going to be threatened by the Texans offense. So I think it gets better. I don't know if I'd go as far as to say I'm buying low on Robbie, but there are going to be people out at this point.
I think there's a lot of people that want to drop Robbie. That say,
don't do that.
And I would not drop him if he was on my roster. I would also commend and remind people, not to toot here, but Mike, you said 2 weeks ago before the Saints game, go trade for DJ Moore. Yeah. Now you called your shot and you said that this game would be big. Hope you got him. Because you're not going to trade for him anymore, just like you said. You had to buy him 2 weeks ago. If you did, thank your local Mike.
Yeah. That was buy high, and now
that was buy high.
Now you are. I don't think you can anymore.
And we said in week 1 to get rid of Robbie because it was a one touch. When you get a one catch for 57 and a touchdown, that is a sell chance. You're not going to sell him on 1 for 8 last night,
right? On the other side of the ball, it's Brandon Cooks and nothing.
Dude, what Brandon Cooks?
He's so good.
Like, I mean, I got the DJ Moore. I apologize for fading Brandon Cooks because he's been outstanding. Why don't teams want Brandon Cooks? Meanwhile, he's dominating. He dominated with General Davis Mills. Like this guy.
Do you think this could be like a not on the field problem, like a bad body odor issue in the locker room?
Oh man, he's one of the he's all natty.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It doesn't make sense, because especially when he's gone through teams that have incredible coaches, right? Like, who's good at identifying talent? Would you consider Sean Payton and like Bill Belichick?
Yes.
Yeah. And they all shipped him out. So,
but they all brought him in as well. So you got to see both sides of it. Here's a Kyle, the editor extraordinaire, just pointed this out. Among wide receivers younger than 28 years old, Brandon Cooks has more receptions than Calvin Johnson did, more receiving yards than Antonio Brown, and a higher yards per target than Randy Moss. It's crazy.
He's so good.
All right. Well, it is Friday.
Foot Clan Friday.
It's Foot Clan Friday. We give something special away, and why not give away a DJ Moore signed jersey?
Yeah, baby.
DJ Moore signed jersey from pristineauction.com is going to Josh Dow. Josh Dow, congratulations. You win this week's giveaway. Every single
Josh.
Friday. You win this time, Josh. Every single week we do this for our supporters over at jointhefoot.com. We appreciate all the support for this independent podcast, and the community over there is incredible, so we like to give something back. Go to pristineauction.com, use code BALLERS, get a $10 credit to check out some of their other gear. We talked about Thursday night. Now let's talk about some news.
News and notes from around the league, presented by Sleeper.
Now I didn't hear anybody thank me for the donuts and the coffee.
I was trying
on the air,
and then your delivery showed up. Yeah, I said you're being humble. You got us lattes, and then right after that, you bust out a gold bling money sign hat.
Thanks, Andy. You're welcome, Brooksy. You're welcome. I'll take care of the salaries for a little while.
Oh, Brooks gets to save a little.
The funny part is you got it from Dunkin', and Brooks owns Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, dang it! Yeah, you have that rolling around in your center console in the car, right?
Yes, sir.
All in change, though, which is weird. No, actually,
in a currency I've never seen.
In a currency I've never seen. A Fabergé egg bucks.
It's $100 coin. I didn't know they made those.
He got access to the gold bullion. I'll say this. I'm going to tease something. I do have something really special planned as a follow-up to this incredibly good fortune moment, and so stay tuned on social media for that.
Ooh.
It'll be really cool. News and notes. DeAndre Hopkins hasn't practiced Wednesday or Thursday. We're out here in Arizona. This happened a ton last year. I'm not worried yet. He has gone full weeks without practicing and then plays on Sunday. There is no local sign that he's not playing. We're all good there?
Yeah,
Yes.
no fears on the local radio waves.
Any fears for Dalvin Cook not practicing Wednesday, Thursday? I am not currently afraid.
Not really, especially when you hear Zimmer talk about it. Zimmer's going to be like, tough it out. Get out there. We need you.
I'd really like to see at least a limited Friday practice from Dalvin, because if you don't see that, then you have to start preparing.
Which means pick up Madison. If you
can. I mean, Madison's a highly rostered player already.
Sure, but if he is available out there, it might be worth, especially if you're the Dalvin Cook manager, might be worth dropping a wide receiver on your bench that maybe you wouldn't usually drop it there in that kind of questionable area to protect yourself.
Real quick strategy point, not to rub in the Chuba Hubbard amazing signing that I got 2 days ago, but because of all the injuries, I mean, whether it was Mostert or somebody else, like, is it generally advisable for players of high-profile running backs, at least heading into the weekend, if their backup's out there, to ensure it for a period of time and then drop them?
Is
or
you have Dalvin Cook on,
so
on the
Dalvin,
weekend, pick up Madison before the game?
Right. Like, sometimes you take that shot, Mike. You won a championship last year taking some Sunday morning backup shots. It seems like that would have paid off for the Elijah Mitchell situation or Trey Sermon. It would have paid off with Chuba.
Hopefully your league has an IR
Tony
spot.
Brooks.
We always recommend IR spots for, if you're making your league. And whenever you have those, you're always going to have, or I would say most weeks, you'll have someone ruled out that's on your roster. And that's usually when I'll move them to the IR and pick up my backup before the week in anticipation of possible injuries.
T. Higgins suited up for today's practice after missing Wednesday and Thursday. The report out of Cincinnati was that he was on pace to not play. I haven't heard it put that way before.
Interesting.
But now he did suit up for practice, so
stay tuned.
We'll find out. Amari Cooper limited in Thursday's practice. That's a good sign for Monday night.
Go.
Yeah.
Miles Sanders limited in Thursday's practice. Monday night game, probably giving him a little extra time.
Yeah.
You think he'll play?
Yes.
Lamar Jackson, Marquise Brown returned to practice. They'll play. Deontay Johnson did not practice Wednesday, Thursday. How worried are you that Deontay may sit this one out?
I lean that he will.
Sit it out?
Yeah. I mean, we're happy that it wasn't a serious injury for Deontay, but, I mean, he probably doesn't play. But, okay, just the bigger question. If he gets a limited practice Friday and he plays, is he just right back into the lineup?
I think so.
Yeah.
Odell Beckham, game time decision. He also reported elsewhere that he was going to be out there. They reported, barring an unforeseen setback, they expect him to make his season debut. How do you approach this coming off the ACL? Because tons of people, he's drafted everywhere, rostered, been on IR. You see the name, and maybe you can go throw Sterling Shepard in your lineup, or even somebody maybe lower tier, AJ Green or Christian Kirk, or you see Beckham coming off the injury with some risk, right? Like he could go out there, he could be limited. What are the range of outcomes, and how confident would you be to throw him into a flex spot?
Yeah, the Jarvis Landry injury makes you a little bit more tempted to see what you got right off the bat, but I'm taking the wait and see approach. If I've got a Christian Kirk, a Jacoby Myers, Brian Edwards, Emmanuel Sanders, these are guys.
AJ Green against Jacksonville or Odell Beckham in this game?
Odell Beckham.
Okay. I just wanted to ask the most disgusting question. Brandon Ayuk or Odell Beckham?
Odell Beckham.
AJ Green or Brandon Ayuk?
AJ Green.
I may destroy you.
No, that's Brandon Ayuk.
That's AJ Green.
That's AJ Green.
I'll take that water bet.
For this week?
Yeah.
Mike, you want that one?
Why not? Put it on the board.
Water bet.
Yeah, you guys are betting $40,000, right?
Yes. We can't
of your money. Yes.
We can't let Jason keep getting away with these Brandon Ayuk nonsense.
Look, you got 1/6 of my winnings to play around with.
All right.
Damian Harris limited Wednesday and Thursday, finger injury. No concerns there.
Nope.
Elijah Mitchell. This is a big one.
Elijah.
Has the sun already set?
I don't
on the future for Eli Missile, because if he misses this game and Trey Sermon plays, and then we're going to be 3 weeks into the season, you could have Jeff Wilson back by week 6. Are you still holding out hope that Eli gets some good performances ahead of you?
Yeah, you're holding out hope. I mean, I think the real question, because right now it looks like Elijah Mitchell is trending to not play, and I would believe that based on the amount of signings and running backs they've brought in. When it seemed early,
all of them?
Yeah, it seemed early in the week that it's just a minor shoulder stinger or whatever. But when you combine any kind of don't worry about this injury with 100 signings of the same position, you go, I'm worried about that injury. The real question is whether Trey Sermon passes the concussion protocol. That when it comes to Elijah Mitchell's future, because if Trey Sermon comes out and is active without him, then all of a sudden he's got the chance to really steal the show, win the job, and my outlook on Elijah Mitchell is very negative. But if Trey Sermon doesn't play, then I think Elijah will be back in the following week.
Go ahead, Mike.
I think if Mitchell is out and Trey Sermon comes in, has himself a good game, I would try and steal Elijah Mitchell.
Really?
Because
you think they'll go back to him?
I think they will.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I think the most likely outcome for Sunday night, based on the information I have this morning, I think it's more likely that Trey Sermon plays in this game and is the best fantasy producer at running back than it is Eli Mitchell.
I would agree with you, but it's important to remind people it is Sunday night.
Yes.
So if you don't have a pivot option in the Sunday night or Monday night game, then Sunday morning, if we don't know already he's past concussion protocol, which I guess by Sunday morning we should know that information.
I don't know. They don't necessarily release it.
But if we don't know that, then plug someone else, James Robinson, who maybe you'd rather play Trey Sermon if you knew. But I would just take the guaranteed player in my lineup.
All right. Anybody else that you guys want to highlight before we get into the fantasy forecast?
No.
By the way, lots of news happening, and you have to pivot quickly. If you need more injury updates, there's a reason we have an injury expert. Matthew Betts, he does an Injury Blitz podcast every Friday afternoon after the practice reports. You can access that at jointhefoot.com. So pay attention there, and make sure you subscribe to the breaking news alerts
Not
channel.
newts.
Not newts, nothing other that sounds like that. Brought to you by Sleeper. Grab the Sleeper app. It's well worth it.
And before we get into the rest of the matchups, I want to thank today's sponsor.
Yes, we do.
Wealthfront is a longtime sponsor, and look, decades of data show that investors that trade individual stocks underperform the market every year. In fact, only 1% of day traders actually beat the market. The odds are not in your favor when you're doing it alone, but you could team up with Wealthfront instead, because investing can be complicated, but whether you're a beginner or you've been investing for years, Wealthfront makes it very easy. They have the tools for you. Their app is a delight. It's easy to go through, set your boundaries of what you're looking for, and they create a portfolio for you of globally diversified, low-cost index funds personalized just for you in minutes. There's no manual trades, no picking stocks, no watching the stock market every day. They automatically handle all the investing and do everything for you based on your preferences. And Wealthfront is trusted with over $20 billion of assets, and you can get your first $5,000 managed for free by going to wealthfront.com/footballers. To get your first $5,000 managed for free for life, go to wealthfront.com/footballers. That's wealthfront.com/footballers. To start growing your savings, go to wealthfront.com/footballers and get started today.
We also want to thank Head & Shoulders for supporting the podcast, as they do and have done all year long. Their Scalp Shield technology, never not working.
Never not working.
That's right. And look, I was never not working when I picked up old Shuba Hubbard earlier this week.
You should try not working.
It would be better for you. Mike brought up a name that we wanted to bring up yesterday on the Never Not Working segment, which we do every week. It's been very helpful for fantasy players. But like Jamison Crowder's a great stash.
Yes, he is. You've seen what Braxton Berrios is doing in this slot wide receiver role for the Jets.
Lots of targets.
It's all the targets. He's a game time decision, but he would be a stash.
Yeah. So we bring it up every week. You want to be never not working, never ever not working.
That's right.
And Scalp Shield, that works every day. Protects you against flakes. Get up to 100% dandruff protection. That's never not working with Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, available at Walmart.com.
Fantasy Forecast.
Back into the matchups. The Washington-Buffalo game, the Bears, Browns, Ravens, Lions, Colts, Titans, Chargers, Chiefs, and Saints and Patriots games. We broke them down yesterday. So if you want to hear the player breakdowns, go ahead and click over to that show. But then come back to this one because the Fantasy Face-Off is going to be very fun later on. We're going to start here with the Falcons at the Giants. DK Sportsbook has the Giants -3. Over-under is 47.5. These are 2 winless teams. And right now the Giants are kind of living the Jameis Winston experience where production at the quarterback position is somehow still not translating to victories on the field. But Daniel Jones is Mike's start of the week this week. Hold your nose while you do it.
What could go wrong?
Hold your nose while you do it. Saquon Barkley, Jason's start of the week. So the 0-2 Giants with a 25-point implied point total and the favorites in this one have a couple of starts of the week.
Yeah, there's been enough we've seen from the Giants offense to believe it. They haven't been great by any means, but Daniel Jones has looked good enough to where at home in a game favorite against the Falcons with Dean Pease on the other side of the ball.
He's not going to put out the fire?
I don't think he's going to put out the fire. So this is a game where I think you can start those players. Kenny Golladay is a little bit questionable. I'm not sure that the breakout's going to happen if he's dealing with his hip injury. But Sterling Shepard, to me, he's someone that you absolutely should play. He is I wouldn't say he's a must start, but he's a should start. In the majority of lineups, he is tied for the most receptions in the NFL right now. The last 4 games with him and Daniel Jones have been outstanding. 9 receptions, 8 receptions, 7 receptions, 9 receptions. He's a PPR guy and 3 touchdowns in those 4 games. So he is in my lineup.
I see him as a must start at this point.
Yeah, he's making me feel a little stupid for doubting him because he's on a great run with Daniel Jones. So that being said, if Golladay plays, I'm very hopeful for Kenny Golladay to have a game as well in this matchup against an atrocious Falcons defense.
Yeah.
However, I do think the Falcons are going to win the game. I know I already have my almost upset of the week, but this is another one where I am taking the Falcons to kind of turn things around a little bit, for the wheels to fall off a little bit for Daniel Jones. And I think it'll be a pretty high-scoring game. You guys like the over in this one, the 47.5? For both teams?
I do like the over. I think Daniel Jones at home is better, and we've seen enough. It's funny. I've never seen an offense look I can't wrap my head around Atlanta because Atlanta is like, I watch them, I'm like, this offense actually isn't as bad as it looks, but it looks horrific. So it's like, what is happening where it's like, okay, they're moving the ball. Cordero's looking good. Mike Davis is fine.
I'm not saying you're ugly, but you're ugly.
You got Pitts who looked pretty good. Calvin Ridley has actually been fine, but then it's like, what? But you suck. So answer for me. What is the Atlanta Falcons offense? Are they good or are they bad?
They're dysfunctional and they're bad. And Matt Ryan isn't playing up to par, and somehow the team has lost its anchor in Julio. And I know that the metrics always showed that Calvin Ridley was good without him, but somehow it just feels different. I mean, they have 2 backup Bears running backs as their starting running backs too. Like, you can say, I mean, these guys have production, but if your offense, the headline for your offense is Mike Davis and Cordero Patterson are effective.
Okay,
well,
that's a good argument for them being bad.
Yeah,
that being said, what are you doing with Mike Davis moving forward? Like, is he a start this week?
Yeah, I mean
Cordero as well.
Cordero is more of a desperation flex, I suppose. I get it. He scored the 2 touchdowns, but Mike Davis had 7 catches.
Yeah,
last week. Like, Davis is going to be fine because he's going to see so much work. I put the blame more on the offensive scheme that has been installed here for the Atlanta Falcons.
Makes sense
for the kind of the disappointing start for Calvin Ridley. I put it more on that than Julio Jones.
Does it get better?
Gone.
Does it get better for Ridley, or is this?
It can.
Does it?
Yeah, I would say it will. As Matt Ryan learns yet another offense.
Is that why he always looks progressively more frustrated as a human?
Probably.
Like, Matt Ryan has gone from being he's looked like the boy next door friendly quarterback to, at this point in time, he's challenging Bruce Arians for the reddest face in football. He seems angry all the time.
I mean, I would be too. You're like, Matt Ryan has been a great quarterback to me, my opinion of watching him,
he won an MVP.
Great. Was super close to
Did he
winning.
really?
Yeah.
I forgot that.
He went to the Super Bowl and won an MVP.
Yeah, he took his team in halftime up like 20 points or whatever in the Super Bowl.
28-3.
Yeah. So
Sorry, Falcons fans.
a great quarterback, but yet he's had to learn an offense a new one every 2 years. Like, give him some stability.
Okay, so
it's too late now.
We're starting Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
You're starting Kyle Pitts. He
Yes, you are.
He looked very good.
I've been trying to trade for him.
in week 2. I don't blame you. Yeah, he's a good target. And you're not starting Matt Ryan. I think that's basically all the pieces from this game.
Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. Both teams 1-1. DK Sportsbook line, Steelers -3. That is that tells you everything you need to know about how it's going for the Steelers this year. Home 3-point favorites against the Bengals. The over-under is a mere 43 points. So when you look at what's going on in this game, you have a bunch of options on the Cincinnati side facing a tremendously good defense, or at least has been a good defense. They've had some struggles on the back end. They don't have T.J. Watt. And then you look at a dysfunctional Pittsburgh offense that has struggled as well, and a low over-under. So are you afraid of this matchup? Who are you most confident in? And, you know, beyond like Joe Mixon and you're playing, but beyond him, who are you confident in?
Oh, man, I'm not confident in this game. I don't think I would throw Joe Burrow out there. We don't know yet the health of T.J. Watt. That makes a huge difference.
Yes.
But assuming that T.J. Watt is able to be back with the team for this game, the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is just too good to have confidence in the passing game of the Bengals. And on the other side, Ben Roethlisberger is just too bad to have confidence in the offense as a whole. We talk about Deontay Johnson being a PPR target machine. That's true. That's great. You're going to get that, 12 to 15 PPR points because he gets enough targets. If he is out, then I have a little bit of confidence in Juju playing that role. The workload of both
Najee should see a bump.
Yeah,
too.
I was going to say the workload of both running backs is fine. So you're going to start Joe Mixon. You're going to start Najee Harris. And I think everyone else is like, you're just kind of pinching your nose and saying, I hope Jamar Chase gets a touchdown. I hope that Chase Claypool can catch the ball. But I'm not like excited for any of these players. So let me ask you this. Sterling Shepard or this 3-pack of wide receivers for the Steelers?
Yeah, I mean, it seems dumb to say. I don't know. Jamar Chase. I'm going to go Jamar Chase. You saw Henry Ruggs had a big week against Pittsburgh last week. So I think Jamar Chase, if T. Higgins is limited or out, I'm going to go with Jamar.
All right.
Because I think I want the big play.
If T.J. Watt is out, I think that's fine. I think he was out for when Ruggs had that big play. You want the time to step back in the pocket and dial one up. It's much easier without T.J. Watt there.
If no Deontay, Juju could have 12 catches in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about here? Cincinnati hasn't won in Pittsburgh since 2015.
This is a good chance. I think they have a legitimate shot of stealing this game. And the only other player I want to talk about him every minute of every day is the Muth. Pat Fryer Muth. The Muth is Luth. And look, it seemed
It's so good.
Don't make me take away your 1/6, brother.
it's a verbal contract. It did seem, for all the jokes, it did seem like Pat Freiermuth overtook Eric Ebron as the starter.
Certainly the future of the team.
Yeah.
So
The futher.
Oh, sweet mercy.
Yeah.
I understand if either of you producers want to walk out. If you need to walk out, that's – and Al is leaving.
Oh, that was the one?
The judge is sticking around, but Al's gone. All right. Well, it was a good run. Cardinals, 2-0, taking on the 0-2 Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars. DK Sportsbook line, Cardinals -7.5, over-unders 51.5. That gives the Cardinals almost 30 points. That is a lot to go around for Kyler Murray and company. I think the biggest name in Arizona right now is Rondale Moore. People want to play him. They had him on their bench for a breakout game, and they want to chase the points. We have these conversations every week. You shouldn't chase them. You should chase them. We forget that people want to. Like, they want to put the player in their lineup that's fun to watch, that has a big play capability. Are you doing it? Are you putting Rondale in against Jacksonville?
I am doing it. I have Rondale in. I've got him in one league, and he is currently in my lineup to start. I think that there's a good kind of litmus test in this matchup of Marvin Jones versus Rondale Moore. Who would you start out of those two guys? I'm leaning towards Rondale Moore for the potential that the Jaguars offense implodes.
I don't expect them to implode. Arizona showed me last week that there's some holes in that defense that showed up that weren't there in week 1 against the Titans.
Sure, when you play against an accurate quarterback.
Yeah, but he throws a lot. And Jason brought this up yesterday. Like, Trevor Lawrence in week 1 for fantasy was not a bad option. Like,
he was the quarterback 12 in week 1. He
332 passing
332 passing yards. However, that was against the Houston Texans, and last week against a much better defense in Denver. I don't know that the Cardinals are as good on defense as the Broncos, but he only managed 118 passing yards. So it can go south for Trevor Lawrence.
You're right. I would take Marvin Jones, though, for what it's worth. As big of I have both players on some of my rosters. Marvin's been the number 19 overall in 2 straight weeks. I would take my shot there. Mike, you're on the Rondale side?
Yeah, because I think that they're both fine plays, but the ceiling is much higher for Rondale.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot more points to go around in Arizona on the implied point totals there. Kyler Murray's always in your lineup. Chase Edmonds is Mike's start of the week. James Conner, I would bench him. He has been one of the least efficient running backs in all of football. Hopkins is great, so you play him.
Are you still holding on to James Conner?
No.
Because I mean, you were just talking about, do you stash these insurance running backs? Because if Chase Edmonds misses time, James Conner is going to see a massive bump in his workload for a very high-powered offense.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to make him an end-of-week add and a Tuesday morning drop every week, that makes sense.
Okay.
I don't think he's looked as bad as his numbers are, so there's that, and he may get the goal line work, but you're in an offense where you're kind of saying, like, do you want Latavius Murray? Or do you want James Conner?
I'd rather have Latavius Murray. I know that team wants to establish the run and run the ball enough, and he's going to split, whereas it seems like with James Conner, I'm not convinced that he's going to get enough carries to be relevant.
And Kyler scores around the goal line,
right? Just
like Lamar does. Little bit of an update here.
Yes.
T. Higgins is going to be listed as doubtful.
I wasn't guessing that. Sorry. I thought you were going to the good news.
Well, the good news is that Carson Wentz is practicing.
Hey now.
I was feeling kind of optimistic. I was really thinking about some of those Colts player prop type of things when I was thinking about the week.
Pity City, let's go.
Well, so let's say
we're back.
Let's say Carson Wentz plays. Would you play Rondale Moore or Michael Pittman?
Ooh.
If Carson Wentz is playing,
Pittman,
I think I lean towards Pittman as well. If Carson Wentz is not, then obviously
Tennessee
I would go to Rondale.
has a trouble on the defensive side of the ball. I do lean Pittman for guaranteed workload and snaps, but it's close.
Yep. Also,
and there's no guarantee Carson finishes the game.
Carson Wentz has had a really nice recovery below the knees. His foot surgery came back really quick.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice timeline. Yeah. His ankles, both of them.
You think he's got the adamantium lower half?
Just below the knees, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Then why if it was adamantium, it wouldn't break in the first place.
That's a good point.
It's more like it's made out of rubber.
These weren't bullet wounds, right?
They're made out of rubber bands, and sometimes they just get a little bit overstretched.
The Cardinals have such a high implied point total. You taking any flex shots with Kirk or A.J. Green?
I think you can. I think if you want – I mean, it's like playing Christian Kirk is fine. Playing Henry Ruggs is fine. You just have to know that, it can go either direction. But they are – it's a player that's involved in a high over-under with talent.
Christian Kirk or Tyler Boyd?
Well, man, you just said that Higgins was going to be doubtful. Then I would probably lean towards Boyd.
Okay.
outside of Marvin Jones, would you all agree Marvin Jones is the most comfortable start for Jacksonville?
Yes.
And then James Robinson, look, the game script is challenging if he's not going to get a lot of work. We bet bought or sold the 15 touches. I mean, you play him, but you have to manage your expectations, right?
Yeah.
He gives you a baseline.
Yeah, I would prefer to not play him for sure, but he is someone that you might have to rely on because he's getting the work. If you look at his usage, 73% of the snaps, 85% of the rushing back attempts last week, 60% of the running back targets. It's tough because you need Trevor Lawrence to be better in the offense, to do more for James Robinson to be relevant. I don't know that that's going to happen, but at least you're confident in those numbers to have not some kind of a goose performance.
James Robinson or Melvin Gordon against the Jets?
Melvin Gordon.
James Robinson against Arizona or Mike Davis versus the Giants?
Mike Davis.
Yeah.
Okay, and then last one, James Robinson or Leonard Fournette against the Rams? Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That was quick and assertive.
Fournette is starting to get a stranglehold on the position.
The New York.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say,
you wanted to talk more Fournette, which is not expected. Go on.
Yeah, I just hate that that there's any level of confidence with the Bruce
I don't even know who you are anymore,
back,
man.
Because as soon as we have confidence in a Bruce Arians running back, Fournette just won't be active.
Al,
it'll be the Ronald Jones show.
Quick check. Sorry to distract, guys. Has my golden chain shown up? Or
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Sorry, guys. The Jets at the Broncos. 0-2 Jets, 2-0 Broncos. DraftKings Sportsbook line Broncos minus 10.5. Are they the heaviest favorites of the week? No, probably the Ravens game. But they're up there. Over/under is 42 points. That gives the Jets offense 15 points. Let's start there.
I'm seeing Broncos as heaviest favorites, but
are you?
Yeah.
I thought the Ravens were 11. Is that wrong? Nope, they're 8.
Yep.
So, yeah, the Broncos are the heaviest. So, I mean, I think there's a compelling argument. The Jets on the road, rookie quarterback, 15.8 implied points to bench everybody. Like, I think there's a fair point to say, don't play a Jet, yes, including Corey Davis, who was 2 for 8 on 5 targets. Play nobody.
I am fine with that strategy. You can play Corey Davis, but we've mentioned enough wide receivers on this episode already that are questionable, and I would take all of them over Corey Davis this week. So let's talk about the other side of the ball, the Broncos. Other side.
But
if Michael Carter's on the waiver wire, stash him and see what the workload looks like this week.
That's fair.
Yeah, he may have a shot at part of that 15.8 points in weeks in the future. Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams, you should play them both.
Yeah.
It's been a perfect 50-50 timeshare so far. If you want that breakdown, that's 59% of the snaps right now, Gordon, 41% Javonte. Week 1 and 2 touches, 14-15, 15-14. Literally the same. Cortland Sutton is Jason's start of the week. Beyond Sutton, there's a nice 26-point implied point total for the Broncos. Bridgewater can be streamed against the Jets.
Yes, can.
And you can shoot your shot with Tim Patrick or KJ Hamler. Somebody other than Cortland Sutton will do something in this offense this week.
I would guess that it's going to be Noah Fant.
That would be great for my fantasy team.
Who do you play this week? Who are you playing against?
Oh, you.
Okay,
yeah.
Good.
Fantastic. Noah Fant is Noah Fant in every week start at the tight end position?
Yeah, I mean,
for
if
the
you have
future.
Yeah, when you have Noah Fant on your roster, rosters are established. You don't have Noah Fant and Kittle.
Say yes to Noah.
Yeah, say yes to Noah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Look.
Okay.
I was gonna say we can't all be winners, but the Miami Dolphins 1-1.
I make any joke I want today.
I'm immunity. The Dolphins are 1-1. They're taking on the Las Vegas Raiders, who are 2-0. The DK line here, 4.5 points for the Raiders at home. Over/under's 44 points. We're not going to see Tua. I am very excited to announce that I have recently, as of 30 minutes ago, added.
Send in the car.
Oh.
Send in the car.
I've added Derek Carr to my League of Record roster as I
Okay.
have recently made some trades, and I have Justin Herbert. I'm going to put Carr on the old bench and see if this continues, as he's been a very, very good quarterback.
Yes.
But I'm going to play Herbert this week, not Derek Carr. And I think you should too. The Dolphins are still a very good defense. I think this line is indicative of that, right? You're a home favorite. The Raiders are 2-0, and you're playing a backup quarterback, and you still are only getting 4.5 points. You have question marks at running back for the Raiders. You don't know which wide receiver you can trust. So Waller's in.
Which sucks because this –
because someone's going to do something.
Yes, I would say the running back matchup here against the Dolphins, someone should do something. And I cannot, in good health and good conscience, recommend starting Peyton Barber should Josh Jacobs be out. But if Josh Jacobs plays, are you just –
You just put him
putting him in?
Yeah, I am playing him.
He showed he's willing to limp out of the end zone to the sideline.
Yeah, I mean we've talked about this a lot. When the Raiders win games, Josh Jacobs pretty much always ends up with a good fantasy day. Their favorite. I would expect them to beat the Dolphins. I'm surprised at the line being only 4.5, as you said. The respect that's being given to the Dolphins defense, and maybe a little bit of homage given to the Raiders collapsing when you think that they're not going to. I thought for a second, Andy, that you said you were adding – when you said you were adding Carr, I thought you were going to say you're adding another almost upset. And I was blown away because what we saw with the Jacoby Brissett-led Dolphins, and granted he didn't get the practice time, but he's been around there. He's been a starter before. Man, were they bad. They couldn't do anything against the Bills.
And really, I think one of the reasons why the Raiders have the chance to be a different team this year is because their defense is better. They have a better defense, which should stabilize some of these matchups that they, when you have a bottom quarter defense in the league, you lose to bad teams sometimes because you just fail on that side of the football. I think they're better. So far this year, they're number 10 against fantasy quarterbacks, 6th against fantasy tight ends. If they're giving it up, it's to the running back position. But I'm kind of standing away from the sideline here for the Dolphins. You can flex Myles Gaskin and hope. I'd like to see what happens here. You can
seen 5 targets both.
You can have Will Fuller out there muddying up targets for Waddle and Parker. Are you starting any wide receivers for the Dolphins?
Way.
Okay.
No way. Waddle, Parker, Fuller, Gesicki, they're all not in the lineup.
The Buccaneers at 2-0 take on the Los Angeles Rams at 2-0. This is an exciting game. The DK Sportsbook line has the Bucs minus 1.5 now. The line has moved. It was the Rams -1 earlier in the week. The over-under in this one is a sweet, sweet, sweet 55. So you want pieces in this game, and thus far, while both teams have good defenses, they haven't been stoppers. They haven't been full-on shut down. 55 is a high over-under in a game where you have two of the top defenses last year in football. So I don't think it has any impact on who you start this week. The fact that they have, each side of the ball has a tough defensive matchup.
No, it really doesn't, because these offenses have been clicking. These quarterbacks are as veteran as it comes. These coaches are great. So I think you're going to start almost everybody in this game. Matthew Stafford is a good start. He's Andy's start of the week. Obviously, you're going to stick with Brady no matter the matchup right now. 9 touchdowns through 2 weeks. I think the one questionable player, the only guy that people are really scared of or worried about, which is Robert Woods. They're disappointed because it's been the Cooper Cup of Coffee. But I think Robert Woods is a good play this week. I really do. You're not going to have a wide receiver like Cooper Cup of Coffee have 2 games of complete dominance on film and not have the other team kind of try to
eliminate
the new normal. And Robert Woods is still good, a 55-point over-under against a team that you cannot run the ball on. You can't run on the Bucs. Every time you face the Bucs, every team, they just abandon the run because why make a play for no yards? So you throw the ball. So I think Robert Woods is a very good start.
Put Tyler Higbee back out there. If you
Agreed.
drafted him, he's been in for 100% of snaps in both weeks. 1 week more prolific, 1 week of disappointment. Put him back out there in a game with a high over-under. Al Borland, obviously, the start of the week for you is Sony Michel. Is that right?
Not at all.
Oh, you came back.
that's the
he
drop
did
of
come
the
back, though.
Are
he was
we
still dropping.
are you playing Sony if Henderson is out?
If he's out, yes.
Henderson hasn't practiced yet. We're supposed to get an update today, but we won't know yet.
If he was completely out, I would be willing to flex him.
Yeah, I mean, he's in that James Robinson tier to me where because he's not a guy that's going to catch the ball, and I just brought it up, you can't really run on this team. So I would be surprised.
Unless you're David Montgomery. Oh, no, wait, that was against the Rams. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't think that you're going to have a lot of fun there.
And are you starting Henderson if he's there?
Yes, if Henderson is active,
Okay.
I'm starting Henderson. He's been great in the receiving game.
We're not expecting to see Antonio Brown. He's on the COVID list. If he was, for some reason, active, are you playing him in this game?
Sure.
Yes, willing to.
And then Gronkowski's been incredible. Keep
Gronk.
Gronking. Keep Gronking.
I like that you're in.
Oh, it's too much fun to be out.
Yeah, it just every time I hear it, it's like Mike stole Gronk off the waiver wire.
Here, let me people might be listening and be like, "Oh, that's so annoying when they do that." And I get it because when Mike does it, it's annoying. The key, the salve is do it yourself.
Right.
Because then you're like, "Oh, this is fun."
Yes.
Gronk. Look, Gronk.
It's more fun than Tyler Conklin.
Yeah,
Although Tyler
Gronk.
Conklin's
it's also
pretty
fun. But it's like, who doesn't like Gronk? I get it that maybe you didn't draft him because look, I did not draft Gronk. I drafted Irv Smith to put onto my IR spot in the hopes that it wasn't a season-ending injury, which it was, and then I scrambled and Gronkowski would just happen to be there.
You need to try it before you hate it.
Yes.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, well said.
And that goes for the Muth is Luth.
Yeah, try it.
See? Yeah, he giggled.
Did you think I was out on that?
Oh,
I just have to play the straight man. That's gold.
Oh, okay.
That's gold.
Like your hat.
Just like my hat. The Seahawks at the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings are 0-2. Seahawks are 2-point road favorites according to the DK Sportsbook. The over-under here, again. Look, I will be.
Yes.
This is going to be a game, guys. And I don't know if Mike Zimmer may strap on a helmet. Like there's a point here where he's not going to let them lose another game. I think the Vikings win this one at home. I think Dalvin Cook gets all the work and more. You saw Derrick Henry drag 11 Seahawks behind him for half of the game, putting the Seahawks at dead last so far through 2 games in giving up points to the running back. You also saw Dalvin Cook disintegrate the Cardinals for about a half of football. Dalvin Cook's going to run wild in this one.
He should.
Jefferson has 19 targets through 2 weeks, and Adam Thielen's been great. The real question is are you willing to throw Kirk Cousins out there, and would you put him in over some of the struggling guys like Ryan Tannehill or Justin Herbert? Would you play Cousins in this home matchup over either of those 2 guys?
I think you can, yeah.
I would.
Can or would?
I would.
I would play him over Tannehill in this matchup.
Over Herbert against the Chiefs?
No, I think
Okay.
I would stick with Herbert.
Russell Wilson is always in your lineup. Chris Carson as well. Metcalf, expecting big things this week from him, 11 targets last week, and Tyler Lockett has been on fire. There really aren't question marks in this game when you look at up and down both sides. Outside of the Cousins flex or, I guess, streaming question, Mike, you brought up Gerald Everett with the target totals. He's a good DFS play maybe. Anything you want to talk about here? Minnesota has been giving up a lot of touchdowns in big games to wide receivers, so Metcalf and Lockett should be stay on track.
On that.
Sunday Night Football, Packers 49ers. DraftKings Sportsbook line, 49ers -3, over-under is 50. I'm 50.
And I can kick.
I'll never be able to say 50 without thinking of that. It was Molly Shannon, right?
That is.
Yeah. 49ers implied point totals 26.5, Packers 23. 1, are you surprised the 49ers are 3-point favorites in this one? And 2, there are a lot of questions up and down the 49ers offense. So where do you go? I mean, Debo is in your lineup, but there's not a lot of 49ers that you can feel comfy with.
No, there's not. I think with the hodgepodge of injuries at running back. Andy, your start of the week and George Kittle. Anyone who has Kittle is starting him, but I think you should have confidence in this matchup. The Packers so far on the season have been roasted, by tight ends. So I think Kittle should be fine. I don't believe you could start Jimmy Garoppolo or Trey Lance. We've talked through the running backs already. If you skipped ahead, you can go back and listen to kind of in the news segment all the Elijah Mitchell versus Trey Sermon versus Jaquez Patrick or what to do in those.
Trenton Cannon.
Yeah, in those situations. So really it's just Deebo Samuel, and that's it, Deebo and Kittle. Obviously the Packers, there's a lot of questions or a lot of options to play. You're starting Aaron Rodgers, you're starting Aaron Jones, you're starting Devontae Adams.
How have you felt about Robert Tonyan so far through 2 games? He had a big week last week with the touchdown. Didn't do much in week 1, but they were just melted.
I think you got to feel good.
Tonyan or Fant rest of the season?
Fant.
Okay. So you don't – I mean, Tonyan was a very high – or not very high, but a higher draft pick than Fant was.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is we know that Tonyan has the ceiling if Rodgers is going to throw a ton of touchdowns. He was the tight end 3 last year, but it was completely on the back of touchdowns, and that's not a sticky predictive stat. So I would rather have the targets and the receptions, which don't really come towards Tonyan.
The way it went, no offense, like Jerry Jeudy's out. I mean, that's the difference here between the two guys. If Jeudy was still there, I would go Tonyan.
That's a good point. Changing perspective on Fant is what does that.
Yes.
Breaking news.
Mike, why don't you share this breaking news with us?
Yeah, this is positive. So Rappaport just tweeted out, Christian McCaffrey expected to miss a few weeks. The team is still running tests, but as of now, IR is not the plan. So that has to at least
let's go to our local CMC
raise some
correspondent.
spirits if Christian McCaffrey is on your team, that they didn't immediately throw him on the IR. He does mention that Chuba Hubbard is the next man up, which we already knew. How do you feel about that, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, it is positive that he's not going on the IR. That's the thing I said we were waiting to find out. So I assume 2 weeks. You've got to.
Well, it's not the plan right now.
It's not the plan right now. Sure, they could add him
Plans
to
get
IR.
crazy.
You know how plans be.
Well, the way they made the decision for him to be out last night was so fast that you got to take some solace in the fact it wasn't that fast right now.
I like Matt Ja Rule. Oh, murder. Ja Rule's been a very good coach.
I think they're going to be 5-0. By the way, have you seen their
Do
schedule?
you? I'm concerned about them.
Losing J.C. Horn and losing Christian McCaffrey, 2 of your best players on on each side of the ball, is very, very difficult for the outlook going forward on this team. But they do look legit, and I think they're well coached. But my point in talking about the coach is that he's smart enough to know not to rush him back. Matt Rule is not coaching for his job security. He is a new coach on a rebuilding plan with a massive long-term contract.
I take it back. They're going to lose next week.
He wants Christian McCaffrey healthy, and even if they lose next week or whatever, they're 3-0 already. So this is a team that has the luxury of saying, get healthy, Christian McCaffrey, and then we'll let you back. And I do wonder if when he comes back, at this point,
do you start to manage him a little more?
Do you start to manage him? Start to make him more of a 75%?
Not if Chuba drops touchdown passes, you don't.
Snap player.
We didn't even really talk about that. Like, Chuba looked
fine.
Where
maybe a little scared.
And I guess we'll get into that in the waivers, but like Royce Freeman was the second man up. It was clearly the touches went to Chuba, but Royce Freeman is going to be interesting.
That was my best attempt at a Chuba.
Do because I get it, Chuba's Tuba, but he's a speedster.
Yeah, he's not Joik Bell.
No.
We just need to change it to Chuba. And people
well,
could
no,
say,
yeah.
You can't change his
but
name.
Chuba Hubbard,
I know.
That's so cool.
I know.
It's Chuba Hubbard.
Chuba Hubbard.
A.J. Dillon, a lot of people have dropped him. He's another guy that fits into the category like Chuba where if he is on your waiver, just pick him up for the weekend.
To me, I talked about James Conner as do you or do you not stash him? A.J. Dillon should not be on waiver wires, to me. In the event.
Upper tier backup where he should be rostered.
If Jones unfortunately misses time, A.J. Dillon will smash. This isn't
you might see some Kylan Hill, though, man.
Yeah, you might.
Yeah.
You certainly might. But I think that A.J. Dillon will become a top 15 running back immediately.
You cannot confidently start a non-Devontae Adams wide
No.
receiver, but reports this morning is that Randall Cobb's going to continue to get worked into this offense. They want to get him the ball more. Pay attention to that.
Don't care.
That's fine. That's fine. He could enter Sterling Shepard category eventually here. The Eagles take on the Cowboys on Monday Night Football. DraftKings Sportsbook line, Cowboys minus 3.5. The over-under is 52.5. Jason, you have 3 players in this matchup, in our League of Record matchup. So I'm going to try to build a lead against you, and you're going to try to come back on Monday Night Football, and then you're going to be unsuccessful, and then I'll be victorious. But you kind of went through this process with Jalen Hurts in the office yesterday, where you were looking at the waiver wire. You were trying to be fair-minded about Hurts and say, well, I shouldn't consider him in every week start. I should find streaming options and better matchups in case I want to bench Jalen Hurts. And where did you get to on that journey?
Where I landed, looking at the schedule and what's ahead and what he's done, is that he is pretty much an every week starter.
He is.
I don't see a matchup in the near future, and when I say near, like the next 2 months, where I would not start him. He has been very, very good for fantasy, and he now has 6 starts. In those 6 starts, he's averaged 8.9 fantasy points per game on the ground, which
delightful.
Which includes fumbles. For context, Lamar Jackson averages 9.8 on the ground in 39 starts, so he is in the same realm as a running back as Lamar Jackson, but he is a much better passer, in my opinion. I think that if you want to, I mean, you can,
Judge can hit the gavel for that one.
Third highest graded passer against the blitz right now.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay. That's just not a fair thing to say, I think, about Jalen Hurts 7 games into his career. Like, I think Lamar's a good passer, but yeah, you can continue.
To be fair to what my thought was, is not so much who is able to throw a more accurate ball, but who is going to be utilized more in the passing game for fantasy. Who out of Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts are going to have a 300-yard passing game and the volume, and that's where I think it would be more on the Jalen Hurts side.
So you take Hurts over Lamar rest of the season?
I would not take Hurts over Lamar. He's still got the point fewer on the rushing on the baseline, but I see them darn near identical.
It is funny that last year in 4 career starts, Jalen Hurts surpassed 300 passing yards twice.
Yeah, he's also under Lamar this year. I mean, he had 190 in his last game, and it shows you where it can go. But it's fair. I mean, you have to kind of decide what you believe there. And early in the offseason, when they hadn't drafted Devonta Smith or brought Zach Ertz back, it was hard to see where the targets could go. But it's nice that he can pass for 190 yards and no touchdowns and give you an okay fantasy week.
Yep, he was still fine.
I am extremely
he had the rushing touchdown.
Interested in watching the Cowboys defense this week because Tom Brady carved him up, made them look like what we thought they were, which was terrible. And then last week they were actually better than expected against the Chargers, who is a good offense in their own right. So I'm curious to see if anything has been fixed with the Dallas Cowboys defense, or preferably
would you like
that
to
they
jump
come
in
out.
my time machine?
Oh,
Jason?
yes, please.
It has not.
Fantastic.
I think the Cowboys win and cover in this game. Now, Jason, you went the other direction on some of your picks this week. I think the Cowboys mop the floor with the Eagles this week.
Yeah, I took the
just
Eagles
like the
with
Chiefs
4
mopped the
points.
floor last week with the Ravens. So you want to enter that time machine, Mike? Can we go back in time in this time machine and fix
nope.
something we said on the show?
Nope.
All right. Question marks in this game, though. Miles Sanders, you're playing him. Zeke, yes. Pollard back in the lineup.
In your flex.
Amari Cooper.
Yes.
CeeDee Lamb.
Yep.
Devonta Smith.
Yep.
Dallas Goedert or Zach Ertz.
Goddard.
Jalen Reagor is a desperation play.
Yep.
Okay.
And you're still stashing Kenny Gainwell.
I'm looking forward to this
Yes.
segment right now, right here.
Mm.
Fantasy Face Off, presented by DraftKings.
Oh, how the turntables.
Freaking Amari Cooper.
The
last week.
The chicken mask shall not be worn by yours truly. Last week's head-to-head matchup on DraftKings, I came out on top. Jason was second, and third place, and biggest loser this week, Mike the Fantasy Hitman himself which means Mike gets to spin the wheel of shame today. Before we reveal our Week 3 lineups, you get to...
Well, you got to hit the button.
What button?
Yeah.
Wheel of Shame.
Yeah, get hyped on the drop before you get dropped
Yes.
by the wheel.
Yes.
All right, spin it. Let's find out, those of you listening, what
let's see.
Mike's situation
Not
is going
the fedora,
to be.
not the mullet wig.
No.
Oh, yeah, baby. Messy lipstick.
Messy lipstick for today's show.
All right.
Pucker up. Where's J.D. McKissick when you need him?
So this is not, you can't be polished on this. You need to be nice
At least it's matte.
and red and messy.
Nice
right.
red lipstick.
Go ahead and
Get this, yeah.
get the camera
Get
on
up
there.
in there.
Oh,
We're talking clown
it's,
level.
it's a little messy. You got to get a little messier.
Oh,
Man,
yeah.
that looks nice.
Nice and disturbing.
Oh,
Oh,
that is horrifying. It doesn't
Mike.
look, because of the beard. Because of the beard, it looks just
a little too
terrifying.
intentional.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, Mom.
All right. Okay.
Well, you look good, Mike. Let's keep the camera there as long as we can. Why don't you, Mike?
I can't handle myself.
You get paid to do this. Big
Hold
cat.
on. I'm going to get a little bit more on that top lip.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
Ooh. Proceed.
Looking very, very good.
I love the way that you're talking right now with your lips puckered the whole time.
You got to give the duck face.
Week 3. Oh gosh, I can't look at this. I can't look at this man.
What?
Looking good.
This
Mike.
is the best camera here. The three. Go to YouTube.com. Check out Mike. Mike, who's your quarterback this week on DraftKings?
Oh, I forgot I have to give a lineup.
Yeah. Head to head. We'll see if what you're in next
All
week.
right. At the quarterback position, I want in on that Minnesota game, but the other side, I'm taking Russell Wilson at 7,600.
7,600 Russell Wilson. Mike, Jason, what do you have?
This is my fear. I worried about my lineup because of my quarterback pick. I went with a very cheap option in Justin Fields.
I don't mind
it.
it.
Was only 5,200, but I do worry that the quarterback position is going to be my downfall this week.
Here's a quick question, Mike. First time?
With the lipstick?
Yeah. No comment?
I plead the fifth.
First time today.
I went with Josh Allen at the quarterback position this week. I think 7,000 is a low point for Josh Allen this year.
Yeah.
He's at home against Washington.
Okay.
He's putting more on.
He likes it.
Running backs, Mike. Who do you got at the running back position?
At the running back position, I'm buying in on that 6,500 price for Saquon Barkley.
Oh, nice.
Taking on the Atlanta Falcons. And to pay up for some players later, I had to find a little bit of a value at the running back position, so I'm going with the rookie Javonte Williams at
interesting.
4,900 against the New York Jets.
Jason, your running backs.
At running backs, I got the value in field, so I was able to get Dalvin Cook into the lineup, and I am pairing him with my guy who is only 4,800, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I know he has stunk, but at that price tag, he doesn't have to do much.
My running backs are Derrick Henry at 8,600 and Austin Eckler at 7,200.
Okay.
So I spent up on both Eckler and the Chiefs matchup, Henry against the Colts.
Interesting. Now, what wide receivers could you guys get?
Well, let's find out. Mike,
All right.
your wideouts?
I'm stacking Mr. Russ Wilson, Mr. Unlimited.
Yeah. Yep.
Going with DK Metcalf simply because he was $100 fewer. And
Cheaper.
Or cheaper, yeah, thank you. Than Tyler Lockett. And maybe the variance bounces towards Metcalf this week.
I love it.
Chris Godwin with the potential that Antonio Brown is out. And Chris Godwin is also just – he's the guy.
This is where your money went.
For
These wide
Tom Brady.
receivers.
And then I'm taking the deep shot. I'm buying the air yards. I hope they hit this year. I'm taking Emmanuel Sanders at 4,200 against Washington.
I have Emmanuel Sanders as well for
Okay.
4,200.
You
I
do?
have
That's a trifecta of
Me
Sanders.
too.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
all see Emmanuel Sanders as a good value this week. I also have another value in Darnell Mooney. I have the stack with my
okay.
Justin Fields. So this is going to be
That's
where I'm
that's
living
a-
and dying. Is Justin Fields, Darnell Mooney, my third wide receiver, and really my number one wide receiver is Keenan Allen.
Well, if he throws to someone else, you'll be displeased. I have Allen Robinson at 6,200. I felt like that was, again, basement level for him. Marvin Jones at 4,900 and Emmanuel Sanders at 4,200. Your tight end and your flex, Mike. And give me your defense, too. Just round out your lineup.
The tight end, I'll kind of be shocked if we're not all, or at least one of you is not on this. I'm going with Hawkinson at 5,200. Maybe you couldn't afford him. But Hawkinson, and then this is where I didn't love it because I'm pairing two Lions, but I have DeAndre Swift at 5,800. That with that PPR against Baltimore, I think that he's going to be a good play. And then I had to save some quiche, so I got the Titans at 2,400, which
it's not looking as good now.
After the news of Carson Wentz, I'm not as confident.
I have Hawkinson as well, Mike, but not at tight end. I have Hawkinson at my flex. I think at 5,200, he's just a good value.
I hope you have a real cheap tight end.
I have a guy named Travis Kelce at tight end. I figured no Christian McCaffrey this week. I'm going to go with the guy who is tied with him 9 games in a row of 20-point-plus performances. And I have the Arizona Cardinals at defense against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Was that 3,000 for the Cardinals?
It was.
Yeah. I went with Austin Hooper at the tight end position at 3,600. Hooper may be really necessary this week. I've got Clyde because Clyde's priced at a point that's just ridiculous at 4,800. And I went with the Raiders defense against Jacoby Brissett, 3,400 for the Raiders. We'll find out who's spinning the wheel of shame, and you can download.
I hope it's me again. I've enjoyed my time.
Yeah,
in the lipstick.
What's the review of the wheel of shame?
2 out of 2 lips.
2 out of 2 lips. Download the DraftKings app now. Use the code BALLERS. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. That's the code BALLERS, only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. That is a minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions do apply. You can see DraftKings.com for details there. Again, use the code BALLERS and get the DraftKings app. We'll come back next week and find out who wins in Week 3. And we're going to keep track all year long and figure out what maybe we'll spin a brand new, more significant wheel of shame at the end of the year.
We'll see.
For that final prize. I think we just finished the show, Brooks. I guess, do I get like a special entry in your country club or anything like that after I've come into this new money?
We'll see about that.
Okay.
You think you have money.
Yeah, I don't have Brooks money.
Did you mention, I was too busy looking at my lips. Did you mention the DFS podcast?
Well, I highly recommend that. The Fantasy Footballers DFS podcast with Kyle the Borgogan and Matthew Betts. They have done an incredible job building up our DFS side of the company, which we now get to participate in, and 3 weeks in have had the good fortune of bringing home a Millie Maker title for the brand. So check that out. And like I said, I'm going to do some special stuff this week on social media. And you can check Mike out Sunday live. He will probably not be wearing lipstick.
I don't make any guarantees.
That's
BallersLive.com. Boy, you and J.D. McKissick this week, huh?
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.